Hey folks, Frank here. We're coming up on our 100th episode, and there's no one we'd rather celebrate this milestone with than you, the listeners who got us here. I'd like to cordially invite you to our Cheers to 100 live episode recording and party on Friday, August 15th at J. Rieger. We'll have food, drinks, and a live panel recording featuring a few of your favorite past guests. You'll have a chance to mingle with our team, along with some local legends and fellow listeners, and you'll be the first to hear about some exciting things we have in store. Head over to our website, somethingaboutKC.org, to learn more and get your tickets today. Hey folks, welcome once again to another episode of There's Just Something About Kansas City, and the guy sitting across from me today doesn't need much of an introduction to Kansas City. Of course, Alex Gordon, former Royals great and eventual Hall of Famer for the Royals. You'll be eligible in 2025, and I'm sure you'll be a first ballot guy out there. But first things first, I want to congratulate you on being just inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame after your great career at the University of Nebraska. Must have been a fantastic night. That's all I've got to say. It's just must have been incredible.
It was a great night. They did put on a good show. It was at the Marriott Overland Park in Kansas City. A lot of people from all over came into town. I think there was 12 inductees that were inducted in the Hall of Fame. Then they did some awards for college players. The LSU pitcher won Pitcher of the Year. Maryland shortstop won the Brooks Wallace Award. So It was kind of cool to share those experiences with those guys and everything. And it was a fun night. A lot of family, a lot of friends. Obviously, being in Kansas City, I had a good showing. But it was fun. And what a special thing that they're going to bring to Kansas City, the College Baseball Hall of Fame. I kind of was a little piece of helping that get here. But the team at Visit Overland Park did an amazing job. I mean, they were looking St. Louis, Omaha, all over the place, and Kansas City at Prairie Fire kind of pulled it out. So it was pretty special.
Right, and until that happened, and the Prairie Fire, of course, now is going to be the College Baseball Hall of Fame, which is terrific, right there next to Chicken and Pickle and everything else that's there. But I didn't realize the College Baseball Hall of Fame had been in Lubbock, Texas. I had no concept. I sort of always thought it was up near your old hometown of Lincoln, but it was in Omaha, because I'm thinking College World Series every year. This isn't in Omaha, and I'm sure they probably wanted it as well. Was Omaha in the bidding process to get the College Baseball Hall of Fame as well?
Omaha was, and I was kind of pumping up Kansas City, so I hope, me being from Nebraska, they weren't going to be upset that I was kind of pulling for Kansas City. But, I mean, Prairie Fire is 5 minutes down the street from my house, so I think I got to go for it, making a bid for that. But it was in Texas Tech, actually, in 2005 when I was at the University of Nebraska. I won the Brooks Wallace Award for Player of the Year in college my junior year. And I didn't know where the College Baseball Hall of Fame was either. And Mike Anderson was our coach, and we took a private plane after the season was over and flew down there, down and back. And sure enough, it was in Lubbock, Texas. But there was no venue or site. It was kind of just like a warehouse where they just had all these amazing things from college baseball, but nowhere to show it. So, I mean, it took, 20-something years to finally find a place for it. So I know the committee for the College Hall of Fame is really excited to kind of get all those pieces out there and kind of display what college baseball is all about. And what a better place than, Kansas City. I've kind of found out since I've retired how special, youth baseball is here and just, high school baseball and stuff. It's crazy. And being a coach now for a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, I'm right in the middle of it. So, Omaha would have been great because of the College World Series, but I think foot traffic and just the dynamic of youth baseball here is pretty special.
Yeah, right. And as you said, foot traffic with just a bigger population. Central United States, I know Omaha is too, but Kansas City's pretty easy to get to, and there are other things to do here as well. If you want to come visit the Hall of Fame, we have museums and and everything else that's involved. So I think it's great. And I know you're more than a little part of it. And I know last thing you ever want to talk about is Alex Gordon. Okay, but if I'm sure you had a little bit more to do with it than just on the periphery of it. And I'm sure all the people here thank you for that.
Yeah, well, I said it was the Visit Overland Park Committee. A good friend of mine, Warren, who I coached his son in basketball as well. We have a good relationship, and he's part of the team. He's the president, actually. So right when they knew this was going to be, up for a bidding, he reached out to me and asked me to help. I didn't do as much as they did. I mean, they were constant 24/7 for a year and a half, but, I was kind of the face and a voice a little bit during the process. And, I was happy to be a part of it. And, you had George Brett, Jamie Bluma, the guys like that helping out as well. So we had a good group of people to help out.
Yeah, and we always talk about this and name the podcast, of course. There's just something about Kansas City.
Yeah.
You name all these guys, George Bratts and Jamie Blumas and a lot of other guys. Jamie Quirk is still here, and there's tons of former players who still live here and call this home, and that you do too. I mean, I know you're just from up the road. All your family and everything is from Lincoln, Nebraska originally, and you grew up with your three brothers and made the caravan trip down to Kansas City all the time to watch Royals baseball.
Yeah.
So this has become you and Jamie settled in here, your wife, and now you have your three kids, your two boys, and finally your little girl, your daddy's little girl, Joey Lynn, and this is your home.
Yeah.
And you never really thought about going anywhere else. So I think that's terrific too. So.
I mean, impressive that my daughter's middle name. I mean, you did your work.
Yeah, I try. Hey, listen, believe me, I have two daughters of my own. In fact, you just met one.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'd forget anything when it comes to the little girls, and they are really special when it comes to dad, and I'm sure you're finding that out as well.
I grew up with three brothers growing up. All loved baseball, played college baseball as well. Then had two boys. So I was, kind of set on never having a girl. I didn't think it was going to happen. And sure enough, our last one, our third one, was a girl, and she can do no wrong right now. She's 6 years old, and she's got my heart. So Joey Lynn, like you said, it's pretty special.
Yeah, you bet it is. I know you coach your two boys in baseball as well. Will she come on? She want to be a softball player, or is she interested in sports at all?
Softball has not come up yet.
Okay.
She's a great dancer, a great gymnast.
Okay.
Like you said, the two boys they do all the sports seasonal. They do basketball in the winter, football in the fall, and then baseball in the spring and summer. So in about 2 weeks, my life's going to be over because I help coach both those teams, and we play so many games in the summer. And so it's even though I'm not playing anymore, I'm still around the ballpark almost every day. So it's busy work, but it's a lot of fun. But no softball for Joey yet, but amazing dancer, amazing gymnast. I think she gets that from her mother. She grew up doing that too. So usually when it comes down to, those weekends, I'm off with the boys. I go this way, and then my wife Jamie goes that way with her. So
pretty soon you have to swap that a little bit. I know you're coaching though, so that makes a big difference. You're not just a dad sitting in the stands. You're actually involved, and that comes from your lineage. What I found out is your grandfather was your high school baseball coach.
Yeah.
Which to me is just that was like that. What was that like? That must have been incredible.
My grandpa was never my coach. He coached at the same high school that I went to.
Lincoln Southeast.
Lincoln Southeast. So he was a football coach and a baseball coach. Won a couple state titles for baseball. The last state titles they've won there at Lincoln Southeast High School. So me and my brothers never got to play for him, but rich history with him being there and everything. But everyone that knew Charlie was my grandpa. Just had nothing but great things to say about him, and obviously I knew that. Having him as my grandpa and everything. But it was he was a great coach and a great grandpa, and something I miss him, but it was pretty special.
You must did he play college baseball? Grandpa?
I know my dad played at Nebraska.
I know he played University of Nebraska. I know.
You're going to put me on the spot.
Okay, all right, that's okay. Well, if you didn't hear about it, then he probably
look it up after this.
Okay, boy, you in trouble.
You know what though? What he did do that was pretty special that I always am proud of is he was in the World War II. He flew a bomber during that. So at his house, he always had these displays of all these medals and planes and stuff like that. So that was something that really. I cherished with him and was really proud of what he did for his country.
Boy, it's going to go right by me now, but they have the special on I don't know if it's Netflix or if it's HBO. It's the Men of Air, I think, and I think it's all about the B-17 bombers flying out of England and bombing Germany and all the how tough it was because the Americans and the British, they bombed daylight raids.
Yeah.
The Americans did, and the Brits went at night. The Brits would always tell them, "You guys are crazy. What do you go over there during the day for?"
Right.
Because then the fighters can. But the Americans went in harm's way all the time. So
I'll have to check that. What's it called again?
I thought it was called the Medvedar, but you can check it. It's a World War II bombing deal, and it's a whole series. It's from the same guys that did. Oh gosh, my brain is gone here. But they did a couple of other things. They did the Pacific. And they also did, Band of Brothers. Mm-hmm. It's the same group did Band of Brothers in the Pacific, and they did this one as well.
Very cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
nice.
It's terrific. Yeah. You'll see what your grandfather went through, and it was hell. For him to get back after seeing the casualty numbers were just incredible. But check that out. You'll see what Grandpa did.
Nice.
So God bless him.
Yep.
For what he did for us. And your dad did go to University of Nebraska and play baseball, but what did he do for a living?
My dad was a sales distributor for Coca-Cola for a while, and then he got promoted, moved on to better stuff. He moved on to Miller beer.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, my favorite brand, by the way.
Yeah,
little Miller Lite.
Yeah, he'd bring the beer home all the time, and I snag a couple every once in a while. But no,
I don't think you're like that very much. But go ahead.
Yeah, he was a manager for the warehouse in Lincoln for K&Z Distributing, which is Miller beer. All my brothers, including myself, worked for him at one point or another, loading the trucks, getting the kegs on the trucks and everything like that. So it was kind of a family-owned business. But he passed away, unfortunately, on Valentine's Day in 2018. So way too early. He had Alzheimer's, which is a terrible, terrible disease. It caught him early and hit him pretty quick. So miss him every day. But he was one of the hardest working guys I've ever met. He had a strong work ethic. Really pushed me and my brothers with baseball, all sports really, but never complained. Always had time for us. Worked a 9-to-5 job every day. So. Yeah. I think looking back on it now, what helped me through my career was my work ethic, and I really believe I got my work ethic from my dad. So pretty special guy. Yeah,
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah. I know I put work ethic down here, and you've always given him credit for that.
One of the best things, not that it was anything great or anything, but after he passed away, all the friends that knew him would always come up to me and always tell me that he was the hardest working guy they've ever seen, no matter what he was doing. So. I kind of already knew that, but it was pretty special when people would come up and tell me that.
Yeah. I always felt bad for your mom and dad, and your mom, Leslie, but your mom and dad, when you were about to be drafted, and I'm sure you remember this, either you just got drafted or the draft's coming up, and the Royals have the number 2 pick, and you're the 1, or you can be 1, you can be 2, you're going to the Royals, you're going here, and I think the news media, if it wasn't the Omaha Lincoln news media, it was the Kansas City news media, was at Lincoln at your house all the time, sneaking up on the back porch, knocking on the door all the time, trying to talk to your mom and dad. And I know they just weren't that type, to get involved in all this. They're sort of stunned by all this hoopla surrounding you being picked by the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, I got a lot of stories about the draft. I kind of, I've been thinking about it the last, few days with the College Hall of Fame and everything, but. I can remember in high school, my junior year, I started getting a lot of attention from scouts and everything. And then by my senior year, I think it was rumored that I was going to go anywhere from the 3rd or 5th round. And, being a kid from Nebraska that loved baseball, my dream growing up was to, make it to the major leagues. So, I was really excited. I wanted to get drafted. Apparently, I didn't find this out until like years later. But every scout that we met with, my mom and dad were like, told them that I was going to go to college no matter what. So I ended up never getting drafted.
You know?
I didn't know at the time. I ended up not getting drafted, and I was upset at the time and disappointed because of what I just told you. My dream was to make it to the major leagues, but my parents really knew what was best for me. And I think if I would have got drafted and went and played, I definitely would not have the career that I did because going to Nebraska, I grew up so much on and off the field that it just was night and day. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise what they did. Fortunate that I had the scholarship to go to Nebraska and everything, but it all worked out. But come my junior year is when I got drafted by the Royals, and I didn't think it was going to be Kansas City. Obviously, I grew up, a Kansas City fan,
right.
Going to the games all the time. My favorite player was George. And the draft was different back then. It wasn't public or televised like it is now. So we're hosting Miami for the Super Regional. Ryan Braun, John Jay, guys like that.
This is in the College World Series.
Well, it was Super Regional.
Super Regional.
To go to the College World Series. So the draft, we were practicing. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. And we had practice going on trying to get ready for the Super Regional. And the draft was going on. And I knew that I was going to go 1 to 10, somewhere in there. I thought it was going to be Seattle at 3. There was an area scout that was pretty intense with me. And
so you didn't think it was going to be the Royals?
I didn't think so. They wanted a left-handed. The Seattle Mariners wanted a left-handed hitter, which they ended up drafting Jeff Clement, which was a USC catcher, left-handed hitter. They just moved to is it Safeco, the new ballpark?
New ballpark.
Yeah, which had the short porch in right field. So that's what they wanted. So that's where I thought I was going. So the stadium was clear. It's Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. We're practicing, but I had my older brother come to the stadium and sit in the stands. I think he was the only one there. And he was listening to the draft on his phone. And I was like, hey, when it happened, just whistle to me and like hold up a finger and tell me where I went. So sure enough, it was 20, 30 minutes into the practice, and he whistled, and he threw up 2.
2. Wow.
And honestly, at the time, I didn't even know who 2 was. I asked our coach, and they were like, Kansas City Royals. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's so great. So team got together, kind of celebrated, gave me kind of a nice hand, said some nice things. We ended up having a couple other players. Brian Dunson went later. I think he was 3rd round, a couple other players too. But it was funny how we're just practicing again for the World Series, and the draft is going on. So life kind of changed after that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say offhand, it probably did. Then when it settled in that you were drafted by the Royals, your favorite team, went to you grew up around them, always going to baseball games there. Mom and Dad dragging, all the boys down. That must have been a chaotic car ride.
It was,
just have been brutal because 4 sons. I mean, you seem like you're a pretty good son. I'm sure one of them was sort of not such a good son. I don't mean in a really bad way, but he's probably the rowdy son, or maybe the other 3, as a matter of fact.
You got to watch out for the quiet one.
Yeah,
I was kind of the quiet one. So.
You were kind of, you're right. And one was named Brett after George, right?
Yes.
You had Derek and Eric.
Derek was the youngest.
And Alex. Yeah.
Eric was the oldest. He was one of the guys.
Eric was the oldest.
Yeah, and funny story about him. I got a couple stories about him, but we were pulling up to the stadium after I got drafted for the press conference. So we were walking in, and my older brother's like 6'6" and like put together pretty well. So we're walking in, everybody's yelling, "Alex, Alex," and they're talking to my older brother because he looks like the the baseball player, and I was kind of in the background just hiding my head and snuck right in. So
as you usually do.
Yeah. So he was helping me out that day. So.
Right, and he actually was a good player in his own right. Right, he's a good pitcher, right?
So. I was fortunate enough when I was young. We were 3 years apart, so I grew up playing on his teams, which was night and day. Just made me a better player. Helped me challenge
playing
me.
with older kids.
And one of the coolest things about him, we were brothers. We fought as when we were younger. He locked me out of the house a couple times. Big brother stuff like that. But as we got to, I got to 8th, 9th grade and stuff like that, I started playing for his teams and. He changed. He really started looking out for me, supported me, and every team I played for, he was really taking care of me. So I always say to this day, whatever I got with baseball, my baseball career was all because of him. I mean, he did a lot for me. So it was someone I looked up to, and he's a pretty special person in my life. But he did play at Nebraska of Omaha. He had an outstanding career, a lot of accolades. He was a third baseman and a pitcher. So 6'6" to he was like 250, 260, so just had that body type of a pitcher. We actually took pictures last night. My younger brother, Derek, lives out here. He works at PSP, if you ever heard of that. It's a kind of strength.
Performance. Performance sports performance, something like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he does pitching lessons, strength training.
Right.
He actually went to college at Park, which is an NAIA school out here. And my other brother, Brett, went to Park too. So we all played college
Park University, right in Parkville. Yeah.
But we took pictures last night at this college event. I mean, my brothers are Derek's like 6'4", my older brother's like 6'6". My other brother wasn't there, but he's like 6'4" too. So we take pictures, and I'm like the shrimp of the family, just like, I'm like, what happened to me? Like, mom must have slept with the mailman or something. I don't know.
Poor mom.
I don't know what happened. So, but my family was obsessed with baseball, and So I owe a lot to all my brothers, and that's just what we did together.
Yeah, and the thing for me is here you are in Nebraska, which is football crazy. Mm-hmm. And I know you played high school football as well. Yeah. So there was never, and your brothers, like you said, were these big, huge guys. You probably all played high school football, right? Was there any inclination in the back of your mind ever to play college football anywhere, or were you bound and determined from day one to be a baseball player?
I always tell my brothers they were a little soft because I was the only one that kind of continued on with my football career in high school until my senior year. That was actually my favorite sport.
Okay, so they did not play.
They played like freshman, sophomore year, and then they kind of focused on baseball. So I played. That was my favorite sport. I didn't play actually football. I played flag football growing up, but I was a big soccer guy. So I didn't play tackle football until my freshman year in high school. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of just took off. But I did have some looks with college football. I know the University of Nebraska reached out because I already signed for baseball, so they wanted to see if I wanted to do both. And
right,
I would have loved to, but it would have been a lot of work, and it was kind of a business decision for me. It was like I knew what my path would be for football, probably not that great. Right. I knew what my path for baseball was going to be, so I just stuck to one sport.
Yeah, it's funny. You wide receiver, defensive back?
Defensive back. I more like defense, but I played both. I was long snapper.
You like hitting instead of getting hit?
Yeah.
One of those deals?
I like hitting. So, yeah, I was safety, cornerback, stuff like that. We won a state championship my junior year, and had a really good program at Southeast. I think my junior year nationally we were ranked like 17th or 20th or something like that, somewhere in there. So had a good program, and it was a lot of fun.
Any doubt it wouldn't have been University of Nebraska? Was there anywhere else that you looked at, like maybe a school where you could play all year round?
Yeah.
Whereas Nebraska, you probably have a limited baseball season up there where you could have gone to a Southeast Conference or a Pac-12 conference baseball team or a Big 12 school in the South.
I grew up an LSU fan. The purple and yellow. Yeah. I was always a fan of them. I think they were called Guerrilla Baseball or something back in the 90s. Nebraska really wasn't that relevant at the time. I mean, we had Erstad that went the number one pick, but not really a lot of success with the baseball program until, my freshman and sophomore year in high school. Dave Van Horn came in and kind of changed the narrative at the baseball program. Took them to back-to-back College World Series. And so my junior year, that's when I started getting a lot of attention. Van Horn was recruiting me at the time. I can tell this story because we're good friends now, but he went to back-to-back World Series. His alma mater is Arkansas, so he was getting there was a lot of rumors out there that he was supposed to go to Arkansas. So I think it was the first day I could officially sign with Nebraska. He came to my house, gave me the whole spiel with my parents for an hour and a half, and it was great. And, by the end of it, I said to him, I would love to sign with you today. And he was like surprised. He was like, "Are you sure you don't want to look around, go visit other colleges?" And I was like, "No, this is where I want to be. This is my hometown. But you got to promise me all the rumors about you going to Arkansas, is that true?" Because I didn't really know the other coaches at the time. And he's like, "Yeah, I promise you those all rumors. I'm not going anywhere." And so sure enough, I signed that night. And walked out. We were excited. So was he. And then I think it was a week and a half later he took off.
He's gone.
But in his defense, like that was his alma mater. That's where he wanted to go. I'm sure. He didn't try to take me with him. He knew that Nebraska was my home, and that's where I wanted to play. So it's just kind of a funny story. And every time I see him, I kind of bring it up and we joke about it. So
yeah. Was there any inclination on any little thing? Maybe I should go to Arkansas. Maybe I should go because he never said, "Come with me." He just let you determine.
I think it was because of it was my hometown, and they started having this success that they were having. So this was where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I was a hometown kid, and I was happy to be a part of it.
So junior year, you explode.
Yeah.
College baseball. And I know you had a great career up until that time, but you were player of the year, All-American, winning all the awards or whatever. And then there was no doubt at that point it was time to go. It was time because you're going to be so highly drafted, right? You knew where you basically were going to be. You're going to be a top 10 player basically at that point. So was that the determination not to go one more year to Nebraska to get out while the getting was good?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already talked about this earlier. The draft was different back then, so there was a lot of dead period with negotiations. Justin Upton was taken number 1 overall. So I think there was like 3 or 4 months where I was negotiating my contract with the Royals, and it got pretty aggressive. That there was rumors that I was going to go back to school. I know there was.
Well, you can use that as leverage,
right? And there was a time period where I had to make a decision: either keep negotiating my contract or go back to school. But we were kind of. I think my agent at the time, which is one of the best agents in the game, a lot of people use him, Casey Close, with he's with Excel now, but we were kind of waiting on Justin Upton to sign, so then we could kind of follow his footsteps, and it just took him a while to do it. And I can remember this situation. They wanted me to come down to Kansas City, be around the clubhouse, take batting practice, stuff like that. So I said, sure, why not? Let's do it. This will be fun. We were negotiating the contract at the time. It was getting pretty, extended. So I think there was, a little frustration maybe on both sides. So I come to the stadium, and like we talked about earlier, George Brett's my hero growing up. Like watching him play, my brother's named after him. Haven't really met him that much. So I get there, and they locked me in a room with George. And,
they locked you in a room with George?
Well, not locked. They didn't lock the door.
I understand. They closed the door.
They closed the door. George had some choice words with me. Let's just say that. If you know George,
I know George.
How he can be.
He's sat right where you are.
And I didn't know him at the time, and now we're best friends.
Yeah.
And knowing George now, you can look back on it and laugh.
Laugh.
It was a pretty intense conversation, and I was just like eyes wide open, just get me out of this room, please. Like my hero is just like not happy.
What
with
was
me.
it?
I'm not gonna go into details about it. You can ask George. He tells his story pretty well. If you know George, he's a storyteller.
He's a great storyteller. Yeah.
I mean, we go out to eat like steakhouses all the time, and I don't even say a word. I just sit there and listen to George talk the whole night because he's got stories for days, and he's so good at telling stories.
Yeah, he is.
So he wasn't mad. He was just trying to convince me that the right decision would be to sign and start playing, which is probably the right decision.
Yeah.
And I think I signed maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that. So
you listened.
He talked me into it. I mean, how can you say no to George?
He cursed you into it. Yeah, I understand how.
Yeah, there's a couple of curse words in there, as you can believe, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I was sweating bullets at the time.
Yeah, I bet. Was he? He was just
he knew what he was
pontificating.
Doing. Yeah, I think
he was reading you the right.
I think the Royals knew what they were doing, putting me in the room with him too. They knew the story that he was my favorite player.
Right. So for you to come up, and you're going to be in the Royals Hall of Fame. There's no doubt in my mind. I know you're going to wait till the vote comes out and the whole thing, but you're going to be a first ballot Royals Hall of Famer. George, of course, is in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and was your favorite player growing up, and you become good friends. What was it like in the beginning? Because I know you really struggled.
Yeah.
First couple of years, you're still playing third base, and all the comparisons to the next George Brett. He's going to lead us to the promised land. It's this, it's that. All that's heaped on your shoulders as soon as you arrive and you take over that spot at the hut corner where George used to patrol all the time. How was it in the beginning for those first couple of years before you moved to the outfield? How tough was that for you?
Kind of tough. I mean, there's times where that pressure trying to live up to George's standards. They said I looked just like him.
Yep.
Third baseman, everything hit left-handed. So, I mean, there was a little bit of pressure, but I would say my rookie year, I should have probably went to AAA, instead of going straight from AA.
But you're the second draft. You're number one.
I won the job out of spring training. Actually, my rookie year, Tien was the third baseman at the time, and he just won Player of the Year. So it was a big question mark. That 2007 spring training, like who's going to move to the outfield? Mark Tien or Alex Gordon. And I knew I was a pretty good outfielder because I actually did play outfield in high school. My freshman year in high school, my brother was the third baseman. He was a senior. So for me to play on the same team as him, I had to move and it was left field. So I did play outfield. I knew I was pretty good at it. And I knew I was an okay third baseman. Like I could hit, so like the errors that I made all the time, it got overlooked because of just my offense.
Right.
So I was like, please move to the outfield. I didn't want to say anything because I was a rookie, but I was like, I'd love to go to the outfield. Please do it. And sure enough, they picked Mark. Mark had a great year that year too, in right field, but moved me to third base. The pressure did hit me at first. I can remember our first game in the big leagues. It was against Boston Red Sox. And, growing up, going to Kauffman Stadium all the time, when I first ran into the infield and looked up, the stadium never looked so big. Like it looked like the Coliseum or something with just all these fans and everything. And I was awestruck. And I was facing Kurt Schilling, who I grew up watching, David Ortiz in the dugout, Manny Ramirez, all these guys. So I was starstruck and a little overwhelmed at the time. And I would say it probably took me that year about a month and a half. I really struggled, a little bit offensively, really defensively, and then, something just clicked. I think it was Cleveland. I went 4 for 4 one day, and after that, I kind of just took off my rookie
I belong here.
Yeah, that's when I started believing, and ended up having a decent rookie season. The first 2 months kind of hindered that with the stats and everything a little bit, but then I kind of just, the pressure was off. Like I just wanted to be myself, and sure enough, sophomore year made some improvements. We were still losing 100 games, which sucked, but I felt like I made some progressions and everything. We changed manager, so that was a little tough at the time too. And then, looking back on my career now, 9 and 10 was really hard for me because, I had the major hip surgery and missed pretty much all of the year. And where I got my confidence from as a player was putting in the work every day and doing
your work ethic from
yes,
Dad.
And I couldn't do that with my hip surgery. And it was actually the first time the Royals dealt with the hip surgery, so it was kind of like they were dealing with it, I was dealing with it. There was a lot of unknowns, and I wasn't on the field, I wasn't working. Came back, kind of struggled a little bit in 2009, and then came into 2010 ready to go. And then, sure enough, like first game in spring training, I break my hand. So once again, it was my throwing hand. And if you break your throwing hand, there's really nothing you can do. You can't play catch, you can't swing a bat. So all spring training couldn't do anything. And so that, looking back on it now, why I struggled in my beliefs is because I wasn't on the field, I wasn't working. It just wasn't there. So it was,
your routine was broken.
Yes, and I knew we were in Tampa Bay when they sent me down. I knew it was coming. Like I wasn't playing. I wasn't a bench guy, and I was on the bench, and I think we had 4 games there. I didn't play 3 of them, so I'm like, something's going on. Like, something's going to happen. Sure enough, last game, Trey Hillman calls me into his office. Dayton was there. And they sent me down. And Dayton was always, Dayton, he was positive. Like,
very.
Everything. And I was positive back to him. I was like, hey, I apologize. Like, this is not where I want to be. So it was kind of a blessing that they sent me down, because it was almost like I could just, quit worrying about the results a little bit, go back to the minor leagues, put in the work, get back to where I wanted to get. And I told them that. And sure enough, they said, hey, we have a young third baseman coming up. We still want you to be part of the team. They've mentioned Ryan Braun moving in the outfield. We think that's what you can do. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I'm all in.
And you were confident about that because of your past experience and actually wanting to go to the outfield at one time with the Royals would have been great for you. And I think you being so athletic, too, I think it's what people might miss. Not only did you play baseball, you played soccer, you played football, you're an athlete.
Yeah.
So to go to the outfield probably freed you up just a little bit.
It freed me up. Just, I mean, I was really struggling defensively. I lost all my confidence because I couldn't work. I started making errors, so the confidence was down here. So the change was actually good for me. It let me catch my breath, kind of regroup, go down to the minor leagues. And, the great thing about that was Rusty Kuntz went with me. He was the minor league coordinator for the outfield. So he was there from day one, just working with me. And I told him, I was like, hey, we're going to do early work every day. I'm going to put in the work during batting practice. I'm consistently every day. I'm going to get back to where, I want to. So, I made a lot of mistakes down there because it was kind of a little fresh, a little new. And I know a lot of AAA pitchers could probably tell you that. But over time, I started gaining my confidence and got called back up. Unfortunately, they called me back up to play right field because DeJesus got hurt.
Yeah,
so
he got hurt.
It was a little different for me. For some reason, I think it's because I grew up playing third base. I played a little left field.
On that side of the field.
If I went to that field, my right field was not as good as my left field. I would always make the wrong turns, or I felt backwards. So first game in Yankee Stadium, that was my first game, and they put me in right field. And sure enough, Brett Gardner's leading off, and they hit a double down the line. And I get the ball, and I juggle it a little bit in my glove, and he goes second to third. I made an error on the first ball. I'm like, holy crap! Like, are you kidding me? And then after that, it kind of just got better and better. So didn't finish 2010 great, but It wasn't till next year is when that kind of really took off.
So. 2011 really was a breakout year for you. I think you played 150 of the 162.
Yeah, there's 3 coaches. I mean, I'm probably missing a couple too, but Rusty Kuntz obviously was the outfield guy that helped me a lot. Kevin Seitzer, who was there in 2010, helped me a great deal. I spent all off season with him, which I can get into more. But
at least you didn't start this with your, when you went to the plate, right?
Yeah, he had a lot of other stuff than that. And then Ned Yost kind of taking over. He really believed in me, and there's something about a manager really, pulling for you and believing in you that makes you feel, good about yourself and confidence. And
that's right. Like 11, you got a Gold Glove too.
Yeah.
So that was hugely important.
That was probably
for you,
looking back on my career. That was probably offensively, defensively, my best year of my career.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Then we'll fast forward. You're still losing a lot of baseball games.
Yeah.
13 was an issue as well. 13, I'm talking for the overall franchise, right? Then you get into 14. You get about halfway through the season, and the team's still struggling, and they're calling for Dayton's and Ned's heads. I mean, they want them gone, and boom, and then all of a sudden, the second half of 13, things really start to take off.
Yeah. I actually felt it, to be honest, in 2011 is when I kind of started to feel, you started bringing up the Eric Hosmer, the Locanes, the Moustakas, just overall feel of athletes and players coming up. I knew we had talent, and it just took us a little bit longer. 12 was kind of, a tough year for us because people were expecting a lot from us, and we didn't really live up to it. And then 13 is when I really started to feel the second half of the season is when we started putting it together. Started off slow 14, and then
second half of the
second
season.
half 14. There's one game, and I know this might sound stupid because I did it, but it was a game against Minnesota. We were losing 1-0, and the crowd wasn't there. Like there was not a lot of people there, and we were actually doing pretty good. And Glenn Perkins was pitching, and I ended up hitting a walk-off homer against them. And I remember, actually, all the players remember Ned Yost going into the press conference and almost, called out the fans and said, these guys are playing their butts off. Like, we're starting to win. We need you guys out here. And then it was almost like we started playing a lot better, and then the fans started to come, and we started getting the sellouts. And it was like, I'm getting kind of goosebumps talking about it. And then the rest of 14, the rest of 15, it was just sellouts. Over and over again. That's something about Ned. He was always backing us. He was always.
He went to bat for you guys. He
all
took
the time.
all the slings and arrows.
Yeah, and he did get mad at us sometimes, but sure. Because he probably was like, "Why am I backing these guys up?"
Right.
Sometimes
I'm tired of you guys. What are you doing?
But he did it day after day, and that's why we loved playing for him.
Right.
And, then we just. That playoffs was just amazing in 14.
Yeah, 14 playoffs were incredible. Of course, everybody talks about Game 7 and should he gone. And we've talked about this in the past, and you'd have been out probably on your way home. Would have been either a fun way to tie the game or to go into extra innings.
Yeah.
Go into extra innings, or the game ends with bang bang play at home because the ball was mishandled in the outfield, and Blanco misses it, and then there was a juggling act. And, getting the ball in. So that was incredible in Game 7. But through that whole World Series and stuff. But I think, let me ask you this question. I'm sure other people have asked this. If you had won the World Series in 2014, would have you won in 2015?
Great question. I don't know. I don't know if guys would have been as motivated as they were because, everybody came back on a mission in 2015. It was everybody, and it was impressive. We got out to a hot start, and I was actually rehabbing a wrist surgery at the time, and it was just watching from the bench, just 8-0. I think it was 8-0, 7-0.
Yeah,
and we were crushing teams, and it just carried throughout the rest of the year. We were a stacked team that year, offensively, defensively, pitching staff, and everything.
So, reliefs.
Yeah, we just didn't have any weak spots. We didn't have the superstars, like a big superstar, but we just had no weaknesses, and everyone played together. It was just a dominating year. So I can remember I was watching from the bench, and we went 7-0 or something to start the season. I'm like, I want to get back out there. Put me back out there. They're like, no, you got to take it slow.
We're going to need you.
Just had wrist surgery, and Paul Orlando was playing left field. And at the time, he was our backup outfielder. He goes to left field. I'm watching from the bench. I think his first 5 hits in the major league were triples.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm about ready to get Wally pipped. You better put me back in the outfield. This guy is amazing right now. I'm watching this guy like set records. Like, I'm gonna get sent back down to the minor leagues. Like, put me back. So, no, that's just all for fun. Paulo actually lives here now, and so I get to talk to him all the time. But we just had a great team that year.
Yeah, and the thing for me was those first April, end of March, beginning of April, as you come out of the gate, you guys are snorting fire. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're fighting. I mean, pitchers are throwing at guys. I'm going, this is April.
Yeah.
These guys are going crazy. They're yelling at the other dugout, and Dono Ventura's throwing at people, and it's like, man, these guys are just, and you just killed everybody from that point. Would you win 93?
90-something games.
Yeah,
I mean,
93 games, something like
pretty
that.
early. I know Ned Yost made a rule during the season because you had to wear suits on the plane, and it sucks wearing a suit in July and August. So he's like, hey, if you guys get 10 games over in first place, because he kept trying to inspire us.
Yeah.
Even though we had this big league. 10 games over in first place, you can wear jeans, you can wear like a polo or something like that. So we're like, we got to stay at 10 over, and sure enough, we did. And it was just a little way that he did to kind of inspire us and keep us going. But that team, I didn't have the swagger, but you see the swagger nowadays, how guys play and everything. I felt like our team was the kind of defining moment when, guys started putting swagger together. Moose, Salvi, Haas, Cloquet, all the celebrations. Who actually brought that was the celebrations came from mostly from James Shields. He brought that intensity, that fun atmosphere to our clubhouse. I mean, you know what he did on the field and the competitor he was, but off the field, what he brought to the clubhouse and the spirit of the team and stuff like that, always cheering on your teammates. It was special. He developed that chemistry, and I think it was 13 and then 14 too. So I would have loved to have him going forward, but we lost him in 14.
Yeah, lost him after the 14
But
season.
He brought that winning atmosphere. Yeah. I think he was a big part of that change.
Oh, I do too. Yeah, I do too. You're still friends with him too. We'll talk about your fantasy football. Okay, we'll get into that in a minute. But the what do you remember maybe most about that World Series run? You just destroyed the Mets. I mean, and then your home run, of course. We'll talk about that in a second. But what do you remember the home run game? Basically,
I remember going up to bat and then coming in the dugout. Like after that, I almost like blacked out.
Yeah,
I don't remember running the bases or doing any of that. I think just so much adrenaline, so much going on at the time that looking back on it now, I remember coming to the dugout and celebrating with the guys, and then I'll never forget Hosmer was the last guy because he just made the air in the 8th inning.
Yes.
So, he was really fired up about it and gave me a big hug and everything. And it wasn't until I walked down the stairs when I was like, holy crap, that was like, what did I just do?
Yeah, I know. Because the game was 4-3 Mets. 4-3. Bottom of the ninth. Galaxy's up. It's solo home run. Did the going around first base, which you probably don't remember.
That's my signature move, though, because
it is.
Nebraska,
Every picture I see.
I did it, too, in the Super Regional. When I hit a home run, I ran around the base and put up the one. So I guess that's just natural for me.
And you never did that. I mean, you never did this celebration.
There were a couple moments in the playoffs postseason where, I have a little more, motivation or celebration or types like that. I think Moose and Haas and the young guys kind of brought it out of me a little bit. So it was just playing with the guys and having fun with it.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you a story about George. This was Toronto when they were in the playoffs, and George hit a home run at the K, and he ran around first and he jumped. He leaped and he did this going around first base. Mm-hmm. So I'm interviewing him the next day. All right, and it's just before the game. They're going to play again. I'm interviewing him the next day, and I said, "Yeah, I've never really seen you jump going around first base before and do the celebration." He said, "I didn't jump." I said, "George, you jumped." He said, "No, I didn't." I said, "Here it is." So we showed it to him. He said, "I had no idea that I jumped going around first base." And then when you did that, that's the first thing I thought of, because then you came in and said, "I don't remember doing that. I blacked out doing that thing." And the exact same thing, which is that connection to George again.
You get that crowd in that stadium with the fans.
Cranking.
I mean, I'll never forget in 14 walking out, or it was the Oakland game, the wild card game.
Yes.
Not knowing what to expect with the atmosphere, and I walked out, and I can never let that down. Like, it was something that I can't explain. Like, goosebumps, just so much energy. They had that towels going and everything.
Right.
Like,
and then that game.
And then that game.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I lost a lot of hair that
wow,
day,
yeah. Well, so did I.
Yeah.
And I was just covering it. So, it was one of those. But that was just an incredible season in 14. But I always sort of wondered, I said, you know what, if they had won the World Series, which would have been great, especially if you could beat Bumgarner and the whole thing at the end, But I don't think the motivation would have been there, like you said, for 15. So you don't know.
Could have been.
You could have been going back to back.
We might have had a little Patrick Mahomes in us. You never know.
You know what? You never do know. Yeah.
I never doubt that guy. But
and I know you are a big baseball,
but
or a big football.
I will
fan
say,
well.
like, who knows if we would have won it? But we did have, the collective group coming back. Those guys and the culture and the family. Like, that's why we were so good. Like, we weren't super more talented than everybody else. It's just that we played together, we had fun, and we were always pulling for each other. So it was coming to the ballpark every day in 14, 15, even 13. It was like a vacation. Like, it was hanging out with my buddies, having fun. It wasn't work. It wasn't
no
baseball.
tension.
No, we were playing for each other. It was free. We were having fun. And some of the best comments I got in 14 and 15 was on the streets when people would be like, we love watching you guys play because it looks like you guys are just having so much fun.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was. So I think that's why we came back so many times in the playoffs. We were just tension-free, just little kids playing out there together, and it was a blast. So.
And I know you probably – I know this from covering and being around you guys and all. You also – Moose was a little bit of a handful, okay? Mike Moustakas, he would let his emotions get the best of him. He had a hell of a temper, okay? And I know sometimes you'd see him disappear out of the dugout and you knew he was going down to destroy a water cooler or maybe go into the batting cage and take it out on the pitching machine or whatever. But I know you sat down with Moose more than once, okay, and just said, hey, we're all in this together. And just, you had a pretty special relationship with
Moose is my brother. I feel like I kind of went through the same kind of things he did. He struggled a little bit early on. He was supposed to be the next third baseman, follow George again. So we had that connection. Yeah. Thing about Moose, there's two different personalities. It's Moose, great guy off the field, like love the guy to death. And then he crosses that line. He's a freaking competitor. Like, he turns into a different guy, which is good. You need some guys like that in your clubhouse. So he was intense on the field, but one of my best friends to this day. I always talk to him. He just got a job actually with the White Sox. I don't know if you heard that.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Good for him.
He's still doing it, but he had that intensity when he crossed the line. I'll never forget. You probably heard this story in Houston when we were getting. Season was pretty much over in 2015 playoffs. I was in the outfield. I was going to be a free agent. I'm like, is this really it?
Yeah.
They're hitting home runs left and right. It's like the eighth inning.
They're killing you.
I'm like, is this really the season's over? This can't happen. Came in the dugout and Moose blacked out and just started yelling in the dugout. Good things. He was like, we're not losing this game. He said it in kind of different words, but just up and down for like, they always talk about Jason Hayward, his speech for the Cubs. That was our speech, like in that dugout in the eighth inning. He went up and down the clubhouse yelling in a positive way, firing us up. And sure enough, look what we did that inning. Like, so, his intensity had a purpose. So, and that's what it did.
Yeah.
I don't think if he did that, we would have done what we did in the eighth inning against Houston.
Yeah,
so.
it was that was just an incredible comeback.
Yeah.
So fast forward now, we're out of 14, 15. You won a World Series. You get towards the end, you sort of feel it coming. I think because of injuries and stuff that happened to you. But you go 2020.
Yeah.
You make the decision to retire. Was there any point? I know you were a free agent at one time. Was there any point in your career that you or your agent thought about? Let's see what's out there for me. Let's check some other baseball teams and see if they'd like to have me on that team. Or was your mindset sort of, you know what? It's been a hell of a career. This team's been great to me. This franchise has been great to me, and I'm just going to stay here.
I know after 19, I didn't know what the future was going to hold because that was the end of my 4-year contract. I knew I didn't want to really go play anywhere else. So I didn't know how that was going to unfold. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to get another deal for 2020. It was tough because Ned Yost left. He was my my mentor and the guy I played for all the time. So that was tough, and then obviously COVID really just put a damper on everything. So I knew my career was starting to come to an end. I always say, if it wasn't for COVID, probably who knows what would have happened. I lost a spark there a little bit. I knew
Everybody did.
Yeah, and I was coming to an end. My kids were starting to get older. I loved the game of baseball. It did everything for me. But one thing it did take away was being on the road, out of a suitcase all the time, missing everything with my kids. So the big deciding factor was, just being around for my kids, my 2 boys, and eventually my girl. And that was a big part of it. COVID had a big part to do with it. But when I look back and now I'm done, if we would have still been winning like we were in 14 and 15, it would have made it a lot harder. We were kind of rebuilding. I was kind of not playing every day, which is fine. I knew what kind of role I was, but that's not my temperament. I want to be playing every day. I want to be contributing every day. So it was just kind of multiple things that, came together, and, I just felt like it was the right time. Jeff Davenport, who's our traveling secretary. Yeah, George calls him. Yeah. I told him early on, but I told him that I didn't want the team to know because we were still kind of fighting for something a little bit. So I told him, wait till the last weekend only if we're not still like in the playoff mix. So sure enough, we got to that point. He kept it a secret and made the announcement. I think we were playing Detroit. It was a 4-game series, and kind of said it then. One of the coolest things, I mean, they did so much for me those last 4 days. I don't like the attention. I don't want the spotlight to be on me, so it was kind of a little tough. I kind of ran with it because I knew it meant maybe more to other people than it did me. It did mean a lot to me, but they did so much for me those last 4 games in Detroit. But the coolest thing that happened, I think it was the Saturday. Moose went this way, Hosmer went this way. All these guys went to different places, which sucked. But that Saturday, Davey started showing me pictures of Drew Butera with the pine tar. You know how I had the pine tar on my back?
Yeah, right.
All the guys had pine tars, my ex-players. So that was something that was really cool. I had them all send the jerseys to me. I got them framed and everything, and that really meant a lot to me. So 17 was hard because all those guys left, but that was a special moment.
Yeah, you can probably see the end there because now they're going to have to rebuild, and I'm an older player now.
Yeah, it's just a multiple of things.
How proud are you to have played for just one franchise? Just like George.
The franchise I grew up loving. I know there's moments probably Dayton wanted to trade me in maybe 2010 or something, but it all worked out for the reason. So there's moments in my career I wish I would have changed maybe a little bit, but like looking back on it now, I wouldn't change it for a minute because I got to stay here. This is my hometown now. I love this community. I'm going to raise my kids here and everything. So it just worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, you bet. We talk about that a lot on this podcast about what a special place this is. Yeah. Talk a little bit about being, now you're a college baseball Hall of Famer. You will be a Royals baseball Hall of Famer. How do you handle that with your boys? As George had to go through the same thing with his boys. They're the sons of George Brett. They just expect them to be Major League Baseball players.
Yeah.
You're going to follow your dad's footsteps. How do you handle that? How do you handle that?
I put no pressure on my boys. I try to be just dad, not Alex Gordon from the Royals or anything like that. And my boys do a really good job with it too. But I just try to treat them just like I would if I was just anybody else. So
sure.
They do a really good job. But one thing I do love is coaching them. One plays for Team KC, which is through the Kansas City Royals organization. Dayton Moore kind of started that program, still going, and my kids play for it. I coach them both. So it's pretty special to share that baseball bond with them because I had that with my brothers, my dad, and everything. Yeah. So just trying to pass that on to them. But I put no pressure on them. I even tell them if they don't want to play baseball, you don't have to play baseball. You can do whatever you want. But if you're not playing my dad always told me this: if you're not playing a sport during a season, you're going to be working.
You're going to be hauling kegs.
You're going to be hauling kegs or doing something. So I tell my boys that's always stuck with me and just kept me competitive, busy, and everything like that. So
yeah, right. Do they play? I'm sure they play other sports as well, right?
They do everything. Like you? They've done tennis lessons. They play golf.
Oh gosh, play football?
That's one thing that I wish my dad. He never had me golf, and I tried to pick it up after he retired. I thought it was going to be easy. I'm horrible at golf. And I got the golf stable.
Well, that's not a very good advertisement for the golf stable. I've been there myself with Wade Benfield, and I know you with those guys. They're great guys.
I showed up first day, never swinging a club. Kevin Ward, who runs the facility, was working with me. and it was brutal. I was hitting it left or right. I didn't even know what I was doing. So
Sure.
thought I was going to just work out because I could hit a baseball.
Sure.
But it's totally
You're an
different
athlete.
sport,
This is
and
easy.
I've been grinding for 3 years and still not that good at it, but
Wow.
it's fun. So
Yeah.
it keeps me busy. One of my hobbies now. And,
Sure.
and
George
everything
still
like
goes
that.
there as well.
George pisses me off because George does everything right, and he gets in there and he's like, and it was like when he was coaching, he was our hitting coach for 13. Came in, he's like, hey, just do it like I did. I'm like,
Yeah.
George, it's not that easy. And so you get in there, swing, hit a laser to left field, and we're like rolling over ground balls and everything. And sure enough, he does that with the golf swing. And
Yeah.
lefty just pure hits it. I mean, he just. Hopefully, I can play as good as him one day, but
Yeah, right.
he's special. He's just special.
Yeah, he is, and he's been a special friend of yours as well. And how was it in the beginning? I know you're great friends now, but how was it in the beginning with George? You always hit it off. You always knew what you were going through because you were trying. Everybody was saying that you were going to replace him, and not from his standpoint. He was worried about. I'd love to see Alex replace me; it'd be great. But just from that standpoint of. Have you always had a close relationship with him?
I would say it was close because George made it close at the beginning. Like, he knew the expectations with me. He knew I was getting compared to him. And He was always around the facility, especially spring training. He was always helping me out.
Right.
And he had a lot of, great things, great knowledges to share with me as far as, and I listened to every word. I mean, why wouldn't you? And then I remember the first time he took me out to dinner. It was in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm a high school kid or a college kid from Nebraska. Like, I've never really been to like a Ruth Chris or a nice steakhouse.
A really nice place.
Yeah, and he took me to this nice steakhouse, had like fancy.
Wasn't the Ocean Club, was it?
I don't know.
Okay,
he's got like 10 of them down there. So we went to one of his places. I was a healthy eater at the time. I think I ordered salmon and like a glass of water and maybe a beer. And like he loved wine. I wasn't a wine drinker at the time. I am now, but he was crushing wine, crushing steak, and he was making fun of me because I had my salmon. I had just like a light beer.
Yeah, a little broccoli on the side.
He was giving me a hard time. So that was a funny moment. Kind of our first introduction, kind of off the field type thing. And we've had mini steak dinners later. And I've always had steak and wine with him now. Going forward, so.
Right. Well, you were always known for keeping yourself in really great shape when you played, and you still do these days. But I remember we asked your mom as you were growing up. She said, we'd always ask the boys, "What do you want for dinner?" And Alex always put his hand up, said pizza.
Yeah.
And you still eating pizza, or are you still into the chicken and broccoli?
I could crush a large pizza with ease.
With ease, no problem.
Eat so much food growing up, McDonald's.
My whole image is ruined.
Everything.
Okay.
Even in high school, like I used to work out, and I used to go to McDonald's and order a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and thought it was healthy because it was fish, right?
It was fish, right?
I had no idea what I was doing, and so it wasn't until I got to Nebraska where I started getting on the football program.
Yeah,
right?
training table.
The training table, and started eating. They had it all laid out for you. Hey, this is how you eat healthy. This is how you gain weight. I remember I went
good weight,
right?
Good weight.
So I was lifting like a football player. I was eating like a football player. And I went in there like 190 my freshman year, and by the time my sophomore year in the wintertime, right before the season, I was 230. I was just eating just
they
like
all
the
thought you were a
football
linebacker
players.
for
Yeah,
the
they were
football
like,
team.
"Are you sure you don't want to play on the football team or anything like that?" But I ended up trimming down. But that was probably the biggest I got. But I started that eating program because of Nebraska, and the football program really is where it came from.
So George ruined your diet. Is what you're trying to tell me?
Steak's good for you. Wine's good for you. So
wine's good. Yeah, right. We can talk ourselves in it. Beer's good for you too at a certain spot, right?
Yeah.
Did you still work out though? I mean, I know you still stay after it, right? Physically.
Yeah, physically.
You have to stay up with the kids. Anyway.
Healthy is a big part of my life. I like staying healthy. I want to be around for my kids for a long time.
Yeah.
So I stay in the weight room. I stay taking care of my body, eating wise and everything like that. Sometimes my wife and kids get pissed at me because they just want me to go eat pizza with them or something,
right.
And I still don't do it. I think it's just a habit over years.
Yeah.
It's just kind of who I am. So
Yeah.
I'll cheat every once in a while. When I was playing, there was no cheating. Like I was strict, disciplined. Like even in the off season, I wouldn't touch anything. And now it's like, there's a pizza in front of me. That's all I have to eat. I'll eat it because what am I training for? Really?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm training to keep up with the kids.
It's a little different. I still have the the habits and everything. It's just I'm not playing anymore.
Just a little different. And you talked about the boys and your daughter. Talk about Jamie a little bit.
Yeah.
Where you met her, and you're raising the family here.
Yeah. So we went to rival high schools in Nebraska.
So you've known her since high school?
Her school wasn't as good as mine. We were kind of the athletes. They had the girls at their school. She was at Lincoln East. I was at Lincoln Southeast. We had a lot of mutual friends. Did not know her at all in high school, even though we were probably at the same places all the time.
Yeah.
Didn't meet her until freshman year in college through one of our mutual friends. Started talking then. We were both kind of doing our own thing. I was locked into baseball and school and everything like that. So, continued talking through freshman and sophomore year, and then we didn't start dating until my junior year. I always give her a hard time and tell people that
I got good.
I always say I tried to get her for 3 years. She wouldn't date me, and then I got drafted the number 2 pick, and then she decided to come along. So
smart girl.
That's not how it worked, but I gave her a hard time with that, and then
that's a good story. Yeah.
She So then, I went into minor league baseball. She was still in school. She ended up getting her master's at KU for social work. I remember, I think it was off season of 2006. I spent the whole off season at KU because she was in school, and I was just hanging out with my girlfriend at the time. So I was training at Kansas and everything. So I'm a Nebraska diehard. But my second team is definitely KU because
another Big 12. Well, at that
because
time,
of her, because
another
of her
Big 12 team. Come on,
her dad's obsessed with KU.
Oh boy,
my kids love KU, so we kind of have KU.
You're just trying to keep the peace here.
So I'm always rooting for KU unless they're playing Nebraska.
You don't have any. The kids don't care about Nebraska all of a sudden.
They do, but they grew up in Kansas City.
That's true. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
They like both of them. I think if it came down to it and they're playing each other, they'd probably root for Nebraska. But we gotta get Nebraska back on track before they can start, really like it. I grew up in the '90s when they're
monster
dominating everything. I was selling pop or concessions in the stadium. I'd quit selling and just go watch the football game. They were amazing. Yeah.
You bring back one empty bin and just that was it for you. You were gone.
Yeah,
right?
I'd drink a couple pops, pass a couple out, and then just go watch the game.
Do you still go up at all ever?
I try to. We used to go back when they were younger. Now my kids are in every sport you can think of, every activity. I wish we could go back more. Unfortunately, we can't, but we'll probably catch 1 or 2 football games a year.
And I know you're very, very busy with the kids, but you have done tremendous work as far as charities are concerned here in Kansas City, too. Alex's Lemonade, we did a little thing at Charlie Hooper's one time. You and I went in there and talked. And I remember before I went in there, I was talking to Mark Topping, our good friend, and he said, I said, hey, Mark, I said, Alex doesn't talk. I said, well, what do we get? And then when we did that, I went, it was like a revelation to me that you never really talked much after games. You just didn't. You let Haas take care of all that stuff.
He did.
And he was right next to you,
really good.
And so he did all that stuff. But you have definitely gone on your stump since then, and you're really helping out some of the local charities, which is great. The Alex's Lemonade for the children's pediatric cancer and all those things as well. Talk a little bit about the charity end of your family.
I want to tell you that I didn't talk, not because I didn't want to you guys. I was always on a strict plan. Even after games, I had a routine. So that's kind of why, people got to know me, and they're like, "Oh, you're actually kind of a nice guy." And but people gave me a hard time because I was never at my locker. I had a strict schedule throughout the day, even after games. So if you couldn't find me, that's why. It's not because I was ignoring you guys or trying to get away.
Yeah, sure.
And actually,
I've heard that story before.
Hosmer was a younger guy, so I was like, "Hey, you take care of it." So he was really good at it.
He was good.
Yeah, he was really good. But
no,
Alex's Lemonade Stand, just was a fluke accident in 2010. I think it was 2010. Obviously, my name being Alex, the little girl from Philadelphia was Alex. I always have to correct people because they think it's
named after you.
Named after me, and it's not. It was just a coincidence, and I think it was Ben Aiken at the time that worked for the Royals. We had a day game, and they had a bunch of survivors out there for Alex's Lemonade Stand. It was like a little meet and greet, so I just came out there, did like a 15, 20-minute deal with each and every family. Charlie was one of them who became my really good friend. That was the first time I met him. And, I kind of just fell in love with it. I hated to see what these kids were going through, the families too. And it was just something that, I wanted to be a part of. And luckily I had people, Susan Blowy, who kind of helps me with Alex's Lemonade Stand, helped me along the way. But it was something that we did for till this day. What is it, 13, 14 years later. So we got a baseball tournament named after Alex's Lemonade Stand.
Yeah, is it Alex's Baseball Classic, right?
Yeah, April.
That picked up in 15, I think.
First week in April, I think it is this year.
Opening a baseball season, which is
it
perfect.
Might be, God, I think it's 7 years now, 7, 8 years of doing it. So that was just one thing that came along. We do a golf tournament, got a big banquet that we do, but it's been a special charity in my heart. I went out actually to Philadelphia. They have a big event because that's where it's from. And it was actually mind-blowing when I got out there that they're very appreciative of what the Royals were doing because no other team was doing what we were doing. So, which I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe the Phillies or anything, weren't. And it really was a proud moment that we did what we were doing, what we were doing. I think I was volunteer of the year, got to present and everything, but really proud of what we were doing. And then this little girl who was like 7 years old, they were like, well, Alex raised whatever it was, 100,000. This little girl was doing lemonade stands the whole year and raised like $5 million. And I was like, holy crap. I got to step up my game now or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's been a special charity in my heart. I'm trying to do more and more now. Still stuff with the lemonade stand. I'm trying to do more stuff with Screen Sanity, which is just mental health with kids and technology and
especially
stuff like
after
that.
COVID.
My wife does a lot of stuff with them, which is pretty cool what she does and that team does. It's a nonprofit organization, so trying to get more involved with that too and some other things. So, yeah.
Besides the kids and all that you're raising, what do you guys do for fun?
Golf. So playing baseball, I had no hobbies. Like baseball was my life. Even in the off season, I was structured. It was always, hey, okay, I gotta plan for my baseball. How do I get better? Stuff like that. Yeah. So I was always.
It was your livelihood.
It was my life. Yeah. So, which is when I talk about 2020 is one of the reasons I wanted to step away is because I gave so much to the game that I felt like I needed to give it back to my family. So, anyways, no hobbies, nothing. Besides family, kids, stuff like that. Since I've got done playing, I've loved golf. It's been a challenging game for me, but I love going out and playing. We love to go skiing in the mountains. I actually picked up snowboarding.
You're allowed to ski now.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed when you played.
Yeah, we went up to the mountains a few times when we were playing, and we wanted to, but couldn't do it. So we just enjoyed the views and everything like that. But started picking up snowboarding with my oldest. My oldest actually snowboards with me, so we started it together. I think we're 3 or 4 years in now, and really starting to figure it out. So. There's a couple hobbies, but just living life that I've missed out over the years I was playing.
And I know since you're done with your career, you've still tried to maintain your relationships with those players. I know you guys do fantasy football.
Yeah, I run it. Yeah.
Well, you run the whole thing. You're the commissioner, and the thing for me is it's more probably it's fun, it's competitive or whatever, but it's more because you still know those guys and you maintain that bond and that relationship. Yeah,
there's a lot of things I kind of run with the guys and everything. Fantasy football is one of them, but it's just staying connected. A lot of guys do a good job. Moose does a great job of reaching out all the time, just kind of catching up because we all go our different ways.
Right.
Hosmer's Florida, Moose is in California, Glowcane's in Oklahoma. So just having those special relationships with those guys. Just try to stay connected any way that we can. Fantasy football is one of them. I'm the commissioner. Fortunately, I've done it for 2 years, haven't won it yet. Wade took year one.
You're too busy. You're too busy organizing.
Locane came to the league last year, won it. So let's just say there's a lot of smack talking going on when we play. So it makes it a lot of fun. I have guys from like all kinds. I had Mike Avilas, he was kind of younger.
Yeah, right.
Billy Butler.
Oh gosh, Billy Butler.
A couple other guys are on it too. So
can always prank Billy Butler.
Yeah,
he's this guy to prank.
Billy's that one guy that you can just give him a hard time, but he does such a good job with it. He kind of laughs with you and everything. So that's what's great about Billy.
And you have a very, very special relationship with this city, and I think that's really important to you, and I think it's really important to this town too.
Yeah. Well, obviously, growing up, coming to the games, coming to the Worlds of Fun, this was kind of my second home. So it was a blessing that I got to come here. And, The reason I think I love this place so much is because I went through my up and downs, and I felt like they were probably frustrated with me at the time, but I felt like they were always supportive of me. They always wanted me to succeed. So I did feel that kind of energy from them when I was going through tough times and stuff like that. So, I had a decision in 2015. I was a free agent. My kids were starting school. We were spending our off seasons in Nebraska because that's where both our families are from. Or babysitters, everything like that.
That's important.
Yeah,
very important.
So we had to make a decision. 15 kids are starting school. Do I play because I signed back? Do I play in Kansas City and have my kids live in Lincoln, or do we move here full time? It was a hard decision because we love Lincoln, but it was really an easy decision in the long run with the kids in this community, and we've stuck here ever since. We love it, and it's just we want to change it for a bit. So.
Yeah, it's a special place. There's
it
no
is
doubt.
a special place.
Hey, I appreciate you taking time.
Is that it? That's all we got?
That's all you got,
Man,
buddy.
I could keep
That's
talking.
it, unless
Let's
you keep
go.
on. You of all people could keep on talking.
Right. See?
But again, congratulations on the induction into the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Thanks for your part in making sure that is here, which is over in Prairie Fire, and it's going to be a fantastic attraction for people around the country to come and visit that, along with all the other great things we have here. But thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I wanted it to be here because I coach these teams now, and when they don't listen to me, I'm going to take them over there and see. I kind of know what I'm talking about, so just give them an example. So
I think that's great.
It's going to be special, though. I can't wait for it to open up.
Thanks.
Yep.
You're one of the reasons why there's just something about it. So,
Thanks. Appreciate it.